Hello, welcome back to Auto Pop Culture. Today we're going over a thing that I actually been wondering and kind of thinking about in a while since the whole James Charles and Tati has going on since I think last week. Um, to disclaimer, I do not know who I know of James Charles. I know nothing of Tati. Like I know there's always been a lot of drama in the beauty community of YouTube. So it's just like I've always turned like a cheek towards it. It's like whatever. It's gonna be somebody's having drama over something. So I kind of just ignore it. But apparently this one is kind of just hard to ignore. Um, so we all know about the whole James Charles and what's going on with him, about him like being canceled and everything. But it's what I found interesting is that we're canceling him. There's a lot of people that are canceling him, like when it comes to like topics of talking about it. Like there's a lot of people canceling him that don't even know who the hell he is, doesn't know who Tati is, doesn't know anything doesn't even know anything about the beauty community or the fact that we all like the people that have been in YouTube know that the beauty community is just drama, drama, drama. So it's just like um so everybody else that's acknowledged that kind of had turned to the left cheeks, like whatever, it's been weird, it's there have something going on. But has been kind of major, and so I personally do not. I think I definitely agree with the whole thing what Tati said and everything that that he should definitely be held accountable, but he shouldn't be canceled. Like it definitely should be. He should be being canceled and held accountable is different. Like canceled if he actually did a huge thing that really affected a lot of lives, compared to he made stupid comments. Did stupid things, and on top of that, he's trying to ruin people's life, but it didn't really work. Like because I know the whole thing about the whole predator, him being a predator and like touching on, like trying to hit on all these straight guys, is completely inappropriate and it's stupid and it's very immature. And I understand that he's 19, so like that's about around the time where a lot of us gays are just like we're fascinated with the straight men, because it's just like they're the people that, like, if we're gay, maybe they're gay, or if they're the people that they're people we're surrounded by all the time. So it's just like the guys that we have a crush on are usually straight, and there's some ambitious people that try to push that boundary, try to get them to have sex with them. And there's the other ones that kind of just fantasize it, which is me. Like I just fantasize about it, like, oh, this guy's hot, I'll just but there's a line between those two, and I know for sure that James tried to cross it, and it's very inappropriate. But at the same time, that's around a time where you start feeling that way, and so that you become two people: the one that just dreams about it, moves on, and understands that like the gays I gotta stick with the gays. Like this is where I stand with, or the ones that have a couple lucky times where the guy like lets him suck him off, which seems like a more deal with what's going on with that guy, more than the fact that he's gay and out. Like he's probably just in the closet, it's not, you're not the whole thing that kills me when people say like, oh, you're not fucking with I mess around with a straight boy. And it's like, if you're messing around with a straight boy, they're obviously not straight. They're probably in the closet. They're probably more levels of what they're into than being straight. Straight means you're actually into just the opposite sex. If you're having sex with another guy and you're experimenting, or if you're curious about your sexuality, then that's one thing. But I feel like if it's a constant basis with an ongoing person, you're probably messing around with another bisexual, straight, or gay person that's in the closet, or some middle piece in that, but they're definitely not straight. Anyway, so I know that's cleaning that part up, but I want to talk about the bigger part, which is the cancels culture. The definition of the cancel culture, which is, I had to look this up to make sure I get the accuracy of it, is no longer morally, or financially, or digitally supporting a person. Namely, the celebrities are most the ones that usually get it. So I find that the culture is very flawed in the most major way. Like there's a lot of things that are going on, a lot of pieces that are being moved around, and I don't think that we understand what we actually are doing with this cancel culture. So, and it's funny because one of the people I was coming across this article, which made me get into this video on top of the James Charles, by David Brooks of New York Times, and he calls this culture naive, polarizing, and also lacks processing and a route to redemption, which I completely agree. I feel like there's certain people that don't get that say something stupid, like Jeffree Star, like he's fine now, everybody loves him now, but they don't, that he was under fire for a minute, and so was Katy Perry, but like just these kind of people, just like they said stupid things, or they've done stupid things, just like these things don't really point out your character, they're just stupid mistakes, they're stupid things that you would say, and it's just like, these are things that they said in the past, and somebody dug it up and brought it to life, which is, side note, if you're digging up somebody's past out of nowhere when they're not really doing anything wrong, like, I get it if it was somebody that's a predator that's been hurting people, and you're like, okay, gotta show proof that this thing is happening, people need to know. Jeffree Star didn't do anything. So going in the past and digging up his stuff, and it's like, oh, he said the N-word. Yeah, a long ass time ago. I'm sure he got held responsible back then. So bringing it up again, like 5 years later, is kind of stupid. It's rehashing something that already have probably been punished. Unless you completely know it has been punished, then you don't know. Like, you just don't know. So I never heard about this whole thing, but like, those are type of the flaws that go on with it. Now, and I also notice a lot of things is that there's a side of it that people are just kind of just jumping on to the whole cancellation. So when somebody says, oh, he's canceled, they're like, oh, I don't know who that is. Well, he did this, and that. And I was like, okay, well, he's canceled and me too. And it's just like, it's one of those things just like, you do not know what they're canceled over, then you're just canceling people just for canceling's sake. And I think that, so I personally feel like when it comes to somebody that's, I feel like it's canceled, I want to dig and figure out what's going on. Why are they canceled? What's going on? Like, what's actually going on? That's why that's literally what I did with James Charles, because I knew this much about him. Like, I didn't care about the whole beauty community or anything. I appreciate what they do, but I don't really know enough to where I can sit back and like, yeah, he's canceled to me too. So I had to do a lot of digging, I have to watch all the videos and stuff like that, and it's lightly accurate. Like, he's pretty much came off so far as been a very immature, the fame has definitely gone to his head, like extremely to the case where he's doing all these like things where just like, oh, I'm just doing it because I can, I'm a celebrity. And I think that's very immature. But it's also in fashion with with his age and how fast he built his structure. And so it's just like, the main thing I'm trying to say is, it does not surprise me that he's doing anything that he's been doing. Does not surprise me. It doesn't surprise me. It sounds about right, So just like when people were so shocked over it, and I was like, yeah, it sounds about right. Like, in this spot, in this position that he's in the person that he is, in the everything about him, age, sexual orientation, everything, it sounds about right. So to have people jump on without knowing the reason, like, unlike me, there's been people that jump on without knowing anything about him, or jumping on other bandwagons that know nothing about this person, just canceling them because it's just fun to be the one that also cancels. So yeah, and I feel like, with that said, I feel like that kind of like, I'm not saying that James should not be canceled. I should say, I feel like he just shouldn't be canceled. He shouldn't be canceled. He should be held from responsibility, and we should kind of like sit back and kind of see what he does with everybody calling him out. Kind of like pretty much the Taylor Swift thing, like when the stuff that happened with her, and how she kind of pushed it away, like victimizing herself, and then she got exposed, and so and I know there's a lot of pieces in that one too, but instead of, she kind of backed out And she's just like, let me just kind of just like say my piece of how I actually feel about what happened. Now I pull myself away from it, give myself time to kind of level with what I'm trying to do. And I feel like she has. She has been a complete different person. Like, it seems like she's kind of pushing away the drama. She's like, I don't want to be a part of those kind of things. I'm not going to, like, what people say to me doesn't really matter. Like, pretty much the Beyonce thing, when just like, yeah, whatever. Or Lady Gaga is a bigger example. Like, when people come for her all the time, she's just like, yeah, whatever. That's how you feel. It's how you feel. Okay, fine, it's how you feel. I know who I am, you know. Another thing that I feel like is a flaw inside the cancel culture is that there's been, I think I said this already, but there's been the whole thing of just like people digging into the past of people and like, oh, so you said this word last time 3 years ago, and I don't think that that's okay, so you're canceled. And they're expecting them to hear apologies, and it's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry I did that. But then I've seen apology videos or apology of tweets, and that people say it's not good enough. Oh, that's not good enough. It's fake. And I was like, how do you determine what's fake and what's not? Like, I don't think that everybody cries when they're apologizing. I don't cry when I apologize. I feel like there's also the other half of people that like fake tears while they're like to apologize. So it's just like, how do you actually know when somebody's being sincere in their apology? And my only answer to that is that their actions of what they do after that apology. You know, it's not they like. You can fake apologize as much as you want, but in the end of it, it's like, who are you going to be after it? Like, are you going to be, if you start doing exact same things afterwards, then obviously the apology was fake, and we should take further actions, you know? But I don't think that somebody apologizing and then you're like, that's not good enough for me, you know? It's just like, well, that's what you got your apology, so now it's like, it's whether you want to trust that you want to see what they can do afterwards, or you just don't completely give them any time of redemption, which is what Dave Brooks pointed out. It's like there's no route of redemption. We haven't figured that out, and I think that we're so gung-ho on the like canceling everybody. Like, we cancel a lot of people, and one example would be James Gunn. We canceled him very quickly because he had a lot of very controversial tweets about like a lot of things. It was very cringy. But he reported, like, that was, I want to say, was it 5+ years ago? And he pointed, and he said, like, those were kind of things just like I was held accountable about it, I talked about it, I apologized, and I moved on. And those are kind of things I was just doing it for shock value and stuff like that, which is not okay. But he pointed out that he had apologized about it before, and now that it's being brought up again, people have forced Disney to cancel him out, and I feel like they're peer pressured into doing it. And I feel like that whereas in all the other people, like the Guardians of the Galaxy, were just like, the people that played them were just like, no, we want him around. We don't feel like this is a person that he is anymore, you know? And now he's back on. Now he's back on doing Volume 3. And it's just like, what was that all that for? Was it, are we over it now? We're cool with, like, not having, we're over people now with their, like, oh, we miss them, so now we're gonna uncancel them, you know? So I feel like James Gunn is a huge example of how flawed this system is. Like, I do understand the people that have been canceled for reasons like Weinstein was canceled. Makes complete sense. He's been getting away with the same action he's been doing since the day that people have reported him doing it since on. He hasn't stopped since the times that people were accusing him of when he was doing them. So it's just like, that's a complete different story. That's one that's just like, yes, he deserves to be canceled because there's no other way to really for him to take responsibility, nor is he looking to take responsibility for it. R. Kelly is a reasonable canceled person, has been getting away with something that's been happening, affecting a lot of people for years, decades. And we all know it, like everybody knew about it. It's just the fact that we're now able to actually take action about canceling him, which is socially dividing ourselves from it and not going near him or anything. So I feel like those are more valid cancellations, not just, but but there's been a good handful of James Gunn cancellations where it's just like the mistake that he did in the past. Like, we gotta like bring him accountable. He was like, I was accountable for it back then, and some people don't see it that way. It's like, no, you gotta do it again. You gotta do it again. We saw something in your past. You must apologize again for it. I don't think it's their right. So I don't think it's their responsibility to re-apologize over something that did before. I feel like it's stupid, And on top of that, I feel like in the past with people, like when I was 19, I said some stupid shit. I'm sure if everybody was to dig in for my type of past, you would find some things. It's just like, well, not probably. I'm pretty innocent, but like, what I mean. Like you'll probably find some things I say just that's completely not politically correct. And that's it, and that's just how it is when you're opening yourself to that, when you're immersing yourself into the world as an early adult, you're just seeing a lot of things, and you finally have your own opinions, you finally can say what you want, so you get kind of wild with the power of that ego of saying what you're doing and saying what you want, being around people that are on your same level. It's not just adults following you everywhere you go. You actually can be you, so you will say some stupid things, you will follow a bad crowd, you will do some stupid stuff that you thought was right or you thought was okay. And the same time but the thing about being an adult, being somebody that grows as a human, is that you grow and move away from certain things that you don't want to do. Hashtag the whole straight thing. Like, I used to be obsessed with straight guys. I just think that straight guys were the thing I wanted to, like, I had two or three crushes in high school, like, with straight guys that I wanted to be with. And I would try to, like, flirt and try to, like, kind of, like, try to tell them, like, oh, you're really cool. But I couldn't really get I wasn't James Charles brave, like, ambitious. I was more kind of, like, laid back with it, kind of, like, but, like, look at how beautiful I look. I'm so cute, blah, blah, blah. Or I'll wear stuff to, like, cute little, like, shoes, or wear some, like, shorts that I think will look kind of hot, and it doesn't get their attention. They don't give a fuck. But it's just like, it's in my head, it's like, oh, that's what's gonna like realize, like, they love me or whatever. But it's a stupid thing. I honestly feel like it's a stupid stupid phase that us gay men go through, where we just like, okay, now that we're gay and happy, maybe anybody else that's like maybe somebody else is in the closet, and sometimes they are and sometimes they're not, but the ones are not, and you definitely get that huge reality, and you just get upset, and then you kind of move on. Some people move on, some people don't, and just continue chasing out their straight guys, and other people realize it's like, okay, I need to stick with these gay guys and actually be in a healthy relationship that's not a fantasy, And so I totally feel like it's an ongoing thing that I've seen in a lot of 18, 19, 20, 21 sometimes year olds. So that's one of them. And another one, I feel like, I'm trying to figure out exactly, excuse me, what came to having cancel culture. And I feel like, excuse me, it's a search from control. It's a search from control that we don't have, that we barely have. And it's one of those things where it's just like, we have a limited, like, control over what we're being presented to us in social media. And so we don't see a lot of things. And social media is a huge thing. We can get thrown advertisements that we don't even fucking want on Instagram and Facebook. I know that whole thing happened with Facebook, where just like, I don't want this. You're giving me stuff. You're selling me stuff I don't really want to have on my, like, page. So we're still getting bombarded by those type of things, and we still get, like, and there's certain opinions that people are not allowed to actually say. Like, I'm physically a example of that. I'm publicly giving out my opinion to you, and you can either take it and believe it, or have your own opinion over it, and we go on from there. But, like, I feel like the things that happens that there's a lot of, I'm right, and I know I'm right, and this is how it should be, without kind of experiencing, allowing people to have their own opinion or have their own thoughts. And I feel like that's exactly what this culture does prevents from happening to people is having their own opinions, having their own thoughts. And I feel like that just fucks it up. It completely fucks it up. I think the culture was more directed for people that were getting away with a lot of like violent or horrible things that they're doing in a past. Or sorry, that's been doing from the past and now and ongoing, and they've never been caught or they can't be caught. And so you have the Weinstein people like that, where that's a huge example, but there's been a shit ton of other people. Kanye West is another example of somebody that's kind of like, he's canceled, but he's kind of like, I think there's more to, I think there's more to him than there is to be canceled. I think that, honestly, I'm just gonna say it, I think that there's some mental health issues that's going on with him, which makes a lot of sense due to his past. There's a lot of things that rotated to end up to where he is now. And he has bipolarism and stuff like that, and it's no excuse for being an asshole or anything, but he also has a spot to grow. He has a space to grow. One thing I do want to point out, though, is speaking of Kanye West's albums still sell pretty high. And so it's interesting. So it drags me on to another example of why this culture sucks, because it's flawed, I should say, is because there's a very flighty, fickle kind of thing that goes on, that just like people are cool with somebody, and somebody goes and digs something up and they're like, oh, this is what he said 3 years and 8 years ago, so whatever. And so they're like, oh yeah, he's a dick, or she's a dick, she's an asshole, blah blah blah. And so then cancel, completely canceled. Give it a couple of months or give it a year, and then they're like, oh, Kanye West, he released an album, I gotta listen to it. Oh, he's misunderstood, or she's misunderstood. It's like we can't even keep people canceled. That's the thing. Like, we can't, like, we're so fickle with who we choose to be canceled. It's almost like a free for all of who can be canceled. So until we actually get that part figured out, I think cancel culture will completely be flawed from that on. Until then, it'll always be flawed. I know there's a lot of people that people can't stand, and I feel like that's also another thing that adds to the culture, is that there's a lot of people that we can't stand or we don't like, and so we try to dig up issues just to get them canceled. And I think that that's a kind of ridiculous thing. Like, for example, I don't care for Taylor Swift, I don't care for Kanye West, I don't care for Meghan Trainor, I don't care for Halsey. Those people I cannot. Taylor Swift, I love Taylor Swift. I liked Taylor Swift in the beginning. Over the whole scandal thing, it came to me, it was just like, this is way too much drama. I just don't want to be a part of it. I'm just going to kind of move away from her. And Reputation album was just very floppy. And I just like felt like I just don't think that she's really in my taste. Like, this attitude that she's presenting is just not who I want to be around or represent. She's came back with the song Me, and now she's like reappearing in social media, and I kind of just like, I'm okay with her. Like, I feel like it's just like, I think there's been enough space, and there's been a lot of explanation of what's been going on, that I was just like, okay. Like, I did, like, after all of this, it makes a lot of sense of what's going on. And then also, this is a time, because she's came back, it's a time to give her redemption, to allow her to see who the person she is. And that's always I've been with her. It's just like, when she released a Reputation album, people are like, see, she's not an asshole, she's not a horrible person, she's not some, like, bitch or anything. And it's just like, okay, we'll see. And that's all I said the whole time. I was like, we will see. If she's not that person, then we will see. And she has came back, and she has been very drama-free. And sorry, that's what I want to say. She's not a bitch. She's more like, she loves drama, and she loves to stir drama kind of thing. And I was like, okay, fine, we'll see. And so she comes back. I haven't had a drama from her once. So it just shows me, it's just like, she's obviously her music actually sounds even different. I honestly feel like it's just like, okay, she's moved on, she's grown from experience, and now she's grew from experience, and now she's like good to go, you know? So I'm like, personally, like, I have a very very like interesting kind of thing, but I do kind of want to give her like space and everything to kind of grow, and I feel like that feel like with everybody else, with Halsey, with Meghan Trainor, with Kanye West, I want to give them that space to grow, and I feel like that we need to do that if we're gonna make this cancellation thing work out. Once again, a Tati thing and the James Charles thing is so much drama. I'm moving my way like I'm doing Taylor Swift, like it's Taylor Swift. I'm just gonna move my way away from it, and everything's been exposed now. His reputation thing has been exposed. So now it's just like, what is he gonna do with it now? You know, we can only dig so much now to actually give him space to actually approve. So that's why I want to say about the whole cancellation culture. Leave a comment below. Tell me what you thought about this whole cancellation culture, and I hope everybody has a great week, and I'll see you guys in the next video.